What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Backyard Dad YouTube channel. And today we are talking about my worn semi-hidden winch bumper that I recently installed along with a Badlands Apex Series 12,000-pound winch. I've got it installed on my 2021 Toyota Tundra Crewman. Again, in today's video, I kind of want to talk about the reasons why I went with this setup, some costs associated with it, and then if you're looking to do this install yourself, some modifications and what the installation process was like. So jumping right into it, my use case for this truck is a daily driver for the most part. It's got weekend warrior duties, getting my son out to awesome camping sites, along with pulling a camper on occasion for boondocking. So there are times when I'm out solo or with the family that I want to have some peace of mind with a winch. I found this bumper on Facebook Marketplace, got a heck of a deal on it. We'll talk about those costs here in a minute. But typically this retails for around $1,000. And then along with the winch itself is another, call it $600, again, retail. I did not pay those costs for this setup. If you're looking to get into a winch bumper for your truck, let's talk about some of the biggest consideration, and that would be weight. You can go with a full winch bumper on something like this. There's a lot of aftermarket support for Tundras, and I really did not want to slap on 200, 300 pounds worth of metal up here. Now, there's a trade-off, right? You'll have a lot of protection if you live, in the mountains, rural areas where deer, elk, wildlife may be a concern for you. Maybe a full-on bumper is the right way to go. For me, I wanted to save weight a little bit. Okay, obviously these trucks don't get great gas mileage, but whatever I can do to preserve some of that was kind of a must for me. This bumper weighs about 80 pounds by itself. You add the winch, another 80 pounds or so, assuming you're going with something that has synthetic line. A full bumper in that 200 or 300 pound capacity, I'm running roughly half of that with this setup all in. Again, I'm running about 160 pounds total. So awesome setup, awesome lightweight. I think this setup looks pretty good with, it integrates nicely into the grill. You do have some modifications here to make, which again, I'll talk about here a little bit later in the video. But I think it fits in there real nice and looks for the most part stock. Okay. Some specifics of this bumper. There are two models with this. One has a hoop that kind of comes up and around. This one did not have a hoop. Again, I found this on Facebook Marketplace for a heck of a deal, so I went with it. But there's some spots up here where you can put a light bar, or potentially if you're handy with a welder, perhaps you could add a loop at a later point if that's something you wanted to go with. For me, that was fine. I was good with this setup. I like these big open spots here that allows you to get access to the winch, to the clutch mechanism specifically. This is all hardened steel. So if you do live in the Rust Belt like I do here in the Midwest of Indiana, I will have to make sure I'm keeping up on maintenance with this, getting a good fluid film application on this before winter each year. I've got some videos on that as well, but I'll have to make sure to keep this well protected from that. Let's talk about the winch. So this is the Badlands Apex Series 12,000-pound winch. I've had Warns in the past. On my old Tacoma, I had a Warn VR Series winch. This bumper is specifically made for the VR Series winch, which is kind of their cheaper line. You can get them for $1,000 or less, depending on the capacity and kind of your line, whether you go with synthetic or steel. Or they're made for the Xenon capacity winches, which are they're very proud of those. $2,000 plus for cost on those things, right? There are a lot of examples of these particular Badland winches used for daily towing purposes, recovery. There's notable overlanders that use this winch. For me, I thought this was a great setup, fit the budget. Look, I'm not going on long, week-long, month-long expeditions with this truck. This will be used occasionally. I'll exercise it, make sure it continues to work, especially before big trips. It meets all the IP68 water ratings. It's got a wireless remote, packed with features, again with the synthetic line. Many similarities to my Warn winch. They're both built overseas, so take that for what it's worth. I know the Xenon series winches are still built in Oregon out of the USA. So again, a consideration, cost, it's going to be kind of subjective depending on what your setup looks like. Let's talk about cost in general for a minute. This Warn bumper typically retails for about $1,000. There are some online retailers that you can get them for $800-900 plus shipping. Again, you're right around that $1,000 mark. The winch option that I went with is the Harbor Freight option. They retail for $599 all day long on their website. They run a lot of specials. I got this for a Labor Day deal, as I mentioned, for about $480. So let's talk about my cost on this thing for a minute. My cost on this was about $450. I found a great deal on Facebook Marketplace. It came shipped with a few blemishes on it that I was able to kind of spray paint and touch up. And so the guy sold it to me real cheap. Warren sent him another one. I guess if you read some of the reviews on Amazon or some of the other online retailers, they're not packaged very well, I guess, when Warren does ship them. Installation of the bumper requires first removing the main grille. There are 5 bolts that hold it up top, and then it's a series of clips and a lot of pulling and kind of cussing to get it off the rest of the way. Once that's off, it exposes a lot of the bumper assembly, and then you can kind of get underneath there, and there are 4 main bolts that attach to the frame rail that you'll take off. You'll unclip the harnesses that go to the fog lights and various other connectors, and the grille works itself off. Here you can kind of see the radiator assemblies and those main bumper supports where the new grille will go into. The aluminum fascia, all that is removed in preparation for the new bumper. Here I enlist the help of my son as we work to take off the side skirts that kind of help protect the front bumper. Bunch of bolts here that come loose. Perfect training opportunity for him. And here you can kind of see the whole setup with the bumper removed. You've got kind of these side brackets that support the bumper, and then these main brackets here that I've got my hand on there are what the new bumper will attach to. Now, I'll be honest, guys, I did not take the best footage during the install process. My cameraman, aka my son, got a little preoccupied at different phases. No worries, we'll fill in the blanks for you. Unboxing the Badlands winch, really nicely packaged, comes with a lot of extra hardware such as rock protection, wireless winch remote, that's magnetic, which is super cool, obviously fair leads and all that kind of stuff as well. Battery shutoff is included, and we work to kind of sort everything out here, and I get ready for the actual install into the bumper. Here I'm kind of unboxing, test fitting everything, kind of seeing what it's going to look like. I actually found that we had to make some modifications to the back of the bumper here, which just did not fit in properly. There was 2 tabs on the back that made contact, and under load and under vibration was going to cause long-term damage here. So we took to grinding the back part of this down. I'm kind of slowing down the video here just to kind of show you what we did. Kind of marked out where the section were that they were making contact, and just used an angle grinder to just kind of work that down so that everything sat flush. Here you can see on the back of the winch, these are the 2 tabs that really we had to make room for by grinding this out. Once we got those set and flush, spray painted them to prevent rust, and got it to work on putting everything back together. Now we kind of skipped ahead here where we cut this bottom valance out, and we used a floor jack to kind of level everything and get it in place so that we could fit it onto these bumper frame rails. Took some cussing and some finesse to get everything wiggled on there. Really makes it easier with having 2 people. But once on there, everything lined up, it turned out real nice. Now, I didn't get good video of us actually putting the original Toyota bumper back on there, but the sequence of events here is really that you want to get the Warren bumper on first and then fit the original bumper over top of everything. Again, the instructions are not good there, so that's an important note to keep in mind for your install. Once everything's back on, we got it wired up, ran the wiring there along the main bumper support, tied in with zip ties, and then up ultimately to the battery and the battery disconnect. I give this install about a 7 out of 10. Not too bad, especially with 2 people. Basic hand tools, and you can get this done over about a 6 to 7 hour period. In closing, guys, is this the right winch bumper for you? That's going to be subjective to both your budget, the weight you're trying to save, and what you're trying to do with the truck overall. What winch you're going with, all those things will play a factor. For me, the biggest things were weight, as I mentioned earlier, and then cost. Again, getting the heck of the deal that I did on this was hard to pass up. You couple that with the fact that, again, I'm a daily driver on this truck. This was just kind of a no-brainer, a home run for me. At the end of the day, it's going to be pretty subjective to you guys. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching another video of mine. Like, subscribe, do all the things, and comment down below. Have you used the Badlands winches before? What about alternatively the Warren winches, or maybe some of the other options that are out there? Really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.